Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Mental Health Bar. Thank you for joining us again this week. I'm quite lucky to have the wonderful John Robertson as my guest this week, of Darkroom fame, streamer, comedian, exhibitionist, John Robertson. Thank you very much for joining us this week, John Robertson.
Thank you. It's a great pleasure. It's a real joy. We are overwrought with bloody emotions here in the Robertson household. Everything is present and correct. Good.
Yeah,
good.
You've got more than enough. You've got more than enough there. You've got more of things than you need, I'd say. More.
Oh, that's a very good definition of me in general. Yeah. always more things than I need, and yet at the same time, an endless want, endless lust for more,
a whistling empty void in the center of you.
What a fantastic orgasm! Let's have 7 more.
Let's have seven more. Jesus,
more.
You've just described my year.
I want to fill you up like a goddamn milk bottle pint. That's what I want.
Christ.
I want to see it go up the arm. You know how when you're a kid, the first time you get a milk bottle and you realize that the milk's actually going up the holder as well. That's what I want, but see.
Right.
All the way up. I want to look at a lovely lady's arm and go, I'll tell you what that is. That's full of my swimming spunky boys.
Oh my God. So this is going to be a serious chat. That's so bad, John.
Just beneath. Like when they talk about, drug addicts getting that feeling of the spiders crawling beneath their veins. Like, no, I want someone to look down and go, look at these rippling tadpoles swimming up towards me. Anyway, hello. It's nice.
Welcome to Mental Health Bar, where we talk about John's loads. That is not how I thought this was going to start. That is not how I thought this was going to start at all. I thought we were going to...
I'm very pleased by it. I stand by what I've said.
I'm done.
It's a lovely series of visceral images, and in the end, it's just some subpar William Burroughs bullshit, and that's me all over.
Well, after the introduction of the eyeglasses, sooty and sweep with googly eyes, and then the description of being filled up like a milk bottle, I'm going to have... brilliant dreams.
Would you want to see the guy who runs Wetherspoons while we're here?
Yeah, go on then. Show me.
Because he's here.
I was not. So I thought you were going to bring up a picture of. I can't remember his name now, but you're going to bring up a picture.
No, that's not his name. Tim Willoughby's a mate of mine. He runs
Timothy. Tim what? Tim Williams.
Tim McVeigh.
No, not Tim McVeigh.
Anton LaVey.
Anton LaVey. McVitie's Biscuits. LeVar Burton.
LeVar Burton. New host of Jeopardy, LeVar Burton.
LeVar Burton. Oh yeah, I know who that is. Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, Mr. LaForge.
Yeah. I thought you were going to bring up a picture of Tim Martin. That's it.
Yeah, Tim Martin.
Tim Martin. And you just a duck that, and it's so close. Is it actually like a Tim Martin duck, or is it? What's it meant?
Blanca. That's Blanca from Street Fighter.
How? But now I can't unsee that.
I know.
Now I can't unsee that. It is Blanca from Street Fighter.
Hoax. I'm not paying me workers. Oh,
right.
Please come to my bar.
For those of you listening at home, I should describe it because John Robertson has just lifted up a rubber duck shaped like Blanca from Street Fighter 2 with googly eyes, and it looks exactly like Tim Martin, owner and purveyor of Wetherspoons. Jesus.
And yet, of course, you remember, of course, that Blanca's main ability was to be electrocuted in Street Fighter 2. And
yes.
If only Tim would just give that a red hot fucking go,
I'd be up for that.
Just a little bit. I mean, the fact that this is a rubber duck that conducts electricity, take it as a message, Tim. Take it as a message. What a tragic accident that would be.
Accident. Sell tickets, mate. Do it. Put it on sports. Put it on Sky Sports.
Oh, why not? Why not? I mean, well, the thing is, people do that all the time. It's like, okay, I have an inbuilt deep fucking anger, which I believe is what he's for. I believe this is why this bloke exists. Against, the armadillo face motherfucker, Logan Paul, right?
Yeah,
that guy.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is, no part of what he's done with his life has ever intersected with me, because that's the nice thing about the world at the minute is somebody can be one of the most famous YouTubers on the planet. Unless you watch them, you haven't heard of them.
No.
You know,
No.
I'm not going to school. I'm 35 for fuck's sake. You know, I don't know who these people are, right?
No, exactly.
It doesn't matter. But when he went down to the Japanese suicide forest,
Oh,
filmed the body that was found. And then, of course, you got to remember, because people acted like it was a live stream. People sort of acted like, well, that was an accident. He had no choice. Like, no. He took that footage, took it home, went through his very, very large infrastructure of people. He's not editing his own videos, for Christ's sake. He lives in a bloody mansion, right? Yeah. With a whole bunch of actual staff and, you know, and infrastructure that's just for, you know, YouTubing. Goes off. So that's gone through whatever their legal department is. It's gone through their producers. It's gone through the editing process, decided to release it, genuinely exploited someone's suicide, right? And then I just remember, and it was just a little thing. I just put out, you know, I really hope that one day when Logan Paul dies, his funeral is filmed so that someone can monetize his death. I think that'd just be a fantastic thing to do, because it's such a disrespectful thing. And it was so funny because that hit American teenagers. And they're sort of like, no, that's a really mean thing to say, to wish that someone would die. I'm like, no, what a terrible thing to do is monetize someone else's suicide.
Yeah.
You know, whoa, I can't believe we found this. It's like, cool. There used to be a movie called The Blair Witch Project, and fuck, I wish that had happened to him and his little friends in the fucking woods.
I can't believe I can't believe that was like that. For me, that should have been the end of him. You know, like there and then. This is a very weird thing to be discussing now because it was a while ago, but at the end, that should have been the end that we ever heard of Logan Paul. We never heard of him again. But actually, we have to hear from his brother now.
Indeed. But the thing is, Logan Paul ended up doing some public statement about mental health awareness, which whether that was face saving or a genuine bit of research into the topic. I mean, we've put the cart before the horse. You've already gone and done a truly bizarre, inexcusable, psychotic thing. You know, ludicrous in every way. You know, like it'd be like me sort of going, well, I'm going to host an audio-only podcast in which I find that man's dead mother, and I just continually vomit repeatedly into wherever she's buried, and you can only hear the audio of it. You know, and it's not live. You know what I'm saying? It's a ridiculous activity, and it's something that only somebody so fixated with the idea of, well, I make this, and you know, and never question themselves in any way, which everyone has to at some point or another, can go and do such a demonstrably awful thing. But he did. This is the last thing I have on this. It's just at least there was some mental health fucking awareness statements made. Yeah. Hopefully some lesson learned. And then he and his brother went into boxing, which is them attempting to monetize their own suicide. So there we go.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. Well,
oh yeah. The trouble is, unfortunately, they've got enough money that they actually train and they pick fighters who they can actually beat.
Yeah. Which people in retirement. People in retirement. They're like, come out of retirement. Yeah. The guy's been retired. Come
out of retirement. Or the one where it's like, I'm just gonna fight another YouTuber. I'm like, fight Yui Boll. Fight old film director Yui Boll. Do you remember when he beat up those film critics?
Yeah. Do that.
That was great.
I've
never enjoyed a single Yui Boll film. He seems like a brutally unpleasant man. Yeah. But at the same time, they're nerd. This is what you get for talking shit on the internet.
Imagine that. I'd watch that. Them versus Russell Crowe. Just with this weird
but Russell
accent.
Can't do shit unless he's got a phone in his hand. He's got nothing. Once phones got small and made of glass, he couldn't do shit anymore.
Couldn't do anything anymore. No.
Nothing. He needs a hotel phone. Needs a big one.
Full weight of it. Can't even hang up. Can't even hang up with new phones. Can't even hang up on people. You just have to.
I'll tell you what, if Russell Crowe had been popular in the 80s, that hotel clerk would have died. Russell Crowe with the bloody 80s cell phone, this fucking brick just lobbed at your head.
He would have just. Yeah, I'm glad. In fact, it's better that it wasn't. It's better that it wasn't an 80s.
Infinitely better.
How do I not say something horrific about this? Is what my brain is trying to get around. But so all of that happens. So I've asked you on the show because like me, we're both comedians, both streamers. You're obviously have a much larger audience on Twitch. You definitely do. That was just a fact That's absolutely.
I loved this. The word obviously was doing a lot of heavy lifting there, wasn't it? For a
obviously,
second,
it wasn't obvious between us. Obvious to us that you have a much larger.
Don't do that. No one ever knows how well someone else is doing. Like, not really.
That's true. That is true.
Well, but it's like there are different levels of fame. It's like it's like when I was a kid, I got myself a Star Trek customizable card game packet, right?
Yeah.
I pulled it out. It had Major Kira Nerys in it. She was a rare card. I looked up how much that was allegedly worth, and I'm saying to my grandmother, "This is worth $75." And she went, "What does that mean?" And I went, "Well, if you wanted to buy it off me, you'd have to give me $75." She went, "I'd give you nothing for it." And that was this lovely moment of going, not everything means the same to everybody else.
Oh, you make a very good point there. That now that is such a nice. So that in itself, I mean, the allegory or the analogy there is great. The anecdote behind it is great. But what I mean is that in itself, the worth of something to someone else isn't equivalent to the worth of someone else to someone else.
Yeah,
see what I mean?
Well, entirely. It's like I found out because I had a TV show over here. It was on a channel very few people saw. Right. To the people who saw the show and liked it, that meant something. To the people who saw the show and didn't like it, that also meant something. To the people who browsed through and would occasionally see me at comedy and go, "Oh, I think I've seen him do that," it meant something. And if you didn't see it, it meant fuck all. It meant nothing at all.
Yeah, that is
like
true.
My mother was happy for me, but it wasn't on the one Australian TV station she watches. So
my mum is the same with that. So I have had during this lockdown, I stream like you do, and my mum I went onto Twitch. I went from Facebook to Twitch. I went Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, because Facebook and YouTube not great for live streaming. Twitch, fantastic. And if you're a geek, Twitch is the place to be. That's where you are. My mum her internet can't even support a Zoom call, let alone a full Twitch stream. She's watching me. Essentially, what she's watching is a series of still slides of her son mess around with a puppet sometimes and talk about Dungeons and Dragons in a funny way and do voices every now and then. And she's like, "So this is your job now?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she goes, weren't you in a magazine? And I was like, yeah, I was, for cultural satire. And she was like, good. But she doesn't get it. She's proud of me, but she doesn't get it. So as you say, she watches channel 1 through 4. That's it.
Yep. But that happens. It's like my mum, I think long ago just went, just let him do whatever it is. As long as he's looking after himself, it's fine.
That's it.
She comes into the chat. And when I do the show Sunday Lunch with when I do Sunday Lunch with Your Dad, where I'm a divorced Aussie dad, she's come in and she is now in the universe of the show. Yeah. She is the grandmother to the kids I'm talking to.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So the crowd in the chat will go Nanatron when they realize she's there because it's Robotron's mum. And so, of course, it's their grandmother. Nanatron. They get very excited. That's and she's amazing. Very good. And she doesn't talk to the character of Dad as me. It's just her son, just a generic concept of her son. But she's engaged with the story of this live action soap opera, which is great. Which That's also, amazing. To be honest, describes her relationship with me in general. I've engaged with the content of this live action soap opera I see before me. It fell out of my womb. I didn't think it would keep talking.
This has gone on way longer than I thought. What are we on? We're on season 35, and I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, the first few seasons, not much content, but you got to forgive them. You got to forgive it early. It takes a while to get good.
Takes 3 seasons. Take 3 seasons before it engages with you. And then it just seemed to take on a life of its own around the 18th season. But my mum does the same. It's a Sunday show, but mine's in the evening, obviously. Mine's later. And she drops in just to have a chat, and it's Mrs. Purchase. That's what they call it.
Oh, nice.
She still does yours still buy your tickets? Does she still buy you like a coffee or a donate or anything? Does yours do that?
No, she buys people gift subs.
Oh, see, that's nice. But I count that. Because she's contributing
it's lovely.
to the show.
It's lovely. But we haven't had the your mother has resubscribed notification. We have she gives them out like candy to the kids. It's really nice.
Werther's Originals, just Murray Mints.
Yeah, or she's always been deeply supportive, and some would argue enabling, but either way is good,
That's I feel like we've got similar parents. My mum's the same. She comes in. She doesn't give gift subs because she doesn't understand. If you say show off your bits on it, she'll be like, I'm not doing that. It's rude. So she wouldn't be like, yeah, exactly. Don't make that face. She'll fall in love with you. I still don't have a stepdad, and I couldn't deal with it being younger than me. I really have to describe what's looking, just because we have podcast listeners. John has glasses with googly eyes stuck to them, and if I start laughing for no reason, it's because John has put on.
I wish to make this clear. It's not just one, set of googly eyes. It's spotted remarkably. Like, take the idea of a leopard, and now each one of those spots is glaring back at you, except for the one that just fell off, which I hope you could hear, dear listener. And that's what's going on. It's a little more arachnid than I'm normally comfortable with.
It's that is it trichodecaphobia? The ones with the yes, that's what it
uneven
might
surfaces.
Is that what it is? For me, it was the peas on that girl's arms or knees.
Yes, it's to do with like a series of circles of different sizes.
I don't like it.
I don't have I've got a tattoo that triggers that on people. It's not meant to. I found out after I got the tattoo, I don't live my life just to spite people with a very specific phobia.
That is a very specific phobia to spite someone with as well.
Yeah, I'm going to fucking show those guys, something about it. You're going to accept the size of every circle, you fuck. Yeah, no.
Bastards. Have you ever looked at a honeycomb? Anger.
What, you need the entire world to tessellate, do you? No. No, absolutely fucking not.
No,
Jesus
I bet
Christ.
that was. How did you find that out? Who showed it? Who told you?
How did I find that out?
Yeah.
The first Facebook comment written about it.
Oh my God.
Yep. I got that. Let's put it this way. I got that tattoo in the middle of a pretty savage grief journey. It's a grief tattoo. It was went to my mate, a tattooist, with a piece of artwork that was done by my best friend, who was the person who died. I said, like, you will do this now, and we're just going to get all of it done in the one go. There'll be no coming back. It'll be you. And it was fine. Like, it was 6 hours. I drank a big bottle of Coke. We had a great time, had a beautiful chat. I was just high on grief, which does happen with me. There can be real mania. Got that all done. Took a bunch of photos, sent those out. And it's that thing where when you're grieving, everything in you is acute. Like sensations are so much larger than anything else. Like I have been in a different room when my phone has vibrated from a simple text whilst either grieving or ill. And it has been as though thunder has gone off in the next room, and I have jumped and just fucking terrified. But yeah, I just remember somebody who just saw the tattoo just immediately wrote down, well, that's my trypophobia, activated. And it was one of those things where I was like, oh, come to your fucking house. Don't you understand? This is a beautiful thing that I've done. And I was like, well, no, of course they don't. There's no context to this. You just put up a photo on the internet. Jesus, John, it's not normally, the internet's not normally great with people's mental health unless you give them a context. And then the people who are bad with it are either deeply ignorant or deliberately trying to be bad.
There's a lot of them as well now.
Oh yeah, but they're shits, and they're the ones with the broken, empty fucking lives and broken, empty skulls if they get near me. That's not plausible. I'm laughing, but I would if I wanted to. I wouldn't though. I'm not actually, but I'd like to. Is the point I'm making?
Yeah, it's a desire more than anything else.
Well, I realized at one point with my Twitch channel, every time, and we so rarely get dickheads, right?
Yeah.
But every dickhead we get, I realized at one point I was giving the same voice to. I just assumed that all of them were 15-year-old boys who were like me when I was 15. And I just thought, okay, you've learnt 5 new exciting words that you think are the offensive ones. Okay, well, you're not good at it. You're not good at it. Like you haven't yet learned that in order to really make dark comedy, you actually have to have either experienced it or been really close to the people who've had you. It's actually done with empathy. That way you can understand what's going on. And then and then you need a command of the English language that you can actually put things together. So even mechanically you can make a joke, right? But you want to make something really beautiful and funny other than just, I said the bad word. Oh, look, I can touch my doodle. I'm touching it though. My hand is long enough to reach it now. I'm a growing boy. You know what I mean?
Is that the voice you gave them?
Well, that's what I think they are. I always think, oh, it's a try-hard teenager. It's usually a sort of shit dick bloke who's about 55.
Oh, is it?
Oh yeah,
I assume
that's
the same.
A couple of times. We've had crap American road comics who don't know their business. Sort of like, let me tell you how to be funny on the internet. And then like, if they're really cunty, we block them. And then later when I'm bored, I'll go and see if they've got a channel. And it's funny. When you've got when you've got a guy with no neck sitting in the corner of his screen saying nothing while playing Call of Duty, and you're like, I'm going to take entertainment advice from this guy.
Yeah.
And let's see who's in his chat. 3 bots. Fantastic. You know what I mean?
He's nailed it. But what you don't know is those bots are actually an AI. It's Skynet. He is Skynet's favorite comic.
But it should tell you something, though. It should tell you something that the voice of a shit dick unfunny 55-year-old tryhard is indistinguishable online from the voice of a 15-year-old tryhard because the content's the same.
Content's the same. It's the same.
You've learned nothing. You don't know how to do anything.
It's the same.
If anything, I'm giving it a compliment because I'm like, there's still hope. I can hit them around the head and it's going to be fine, which I don't mind doing. And it's interesting too, like just quietly, how receptive people can be to you going, don't do that. It's quite nice. Just, because when people have that sort of fake straw man idea of, oh, everyone's offended all the time, or this like, I've been alive 35 years. I've seen this dance a lot. I jump on tables for a living. I scream, I'm going to fuck you in the mouth to people most of my days at work. I steal people's pints. I am genuinely an offensive fucking human being. And I do it for money, right? You could do just about anything you want in entertainment as long as the people there find it entertaining.
Yeah.
That's the entirety of that social contract. If you say to the people, we're going to do this, and the people go, all right, we agree with you. That's your show. And if they then go, actually, I've now ceased to be entertained, well, you're no longer doing your job.
Yes.
So so it's one of those things where if you don't make a big deal, because people will say stuff like it's I've got an Excalibur and I'm slaying a dragon. And you sort of just kind of go, well, that's nothing. But that, that's a really old school, boring thing to say. Can you just don't do that? And they do tend to go, oh yeah, sorry. They go, they calm down. And then the ones who go, it was a joke. I mean, we had a guy the other day did the classic, it's a joke, bro, calm down. And I just went, it's not funny though. It's just a bit dull. And then we didn't talk to him. And then like 20 minutes later, he's like, I've had to think. I'm sorry about that. I was like, good on you.
Oh yeah. What do you know? That's nice.
What do you know?
That's so rare.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, you say rare, it's just direct interaction. If you're in a bar with someone, right? People, if people love this idea of, I've said a bad thing, and now someone that I've made up in my head is screaming because they're so upset, and therefore this is important. It's like, no, what's happened is several people who've heard that several million times and now just think less of you and are bored. Yeah. And the people who are genuinely upset have lived through more hell than you'll ever experience, and are actually stronger and braver than you'll ever fucking be. So one of those things, fucking hell.
I don't understand it. I don't understand the need to come. Well, I understand the need for attention, but I don't understand that thing on Twitch. And I suggested to my chat on Friday that we should have a thing where everyone gets you can tell whatever joke you like. You can tell whatever joke you like, whatever you like, whenever you like. However, it then gets judged by a panel of professional comedy writers and comedians. And if it's shit or not funny, you get punched in the genitals. I feel like that is the compromise that those people should get. So they have to take, because there's the direct consequence for it being a bad joke. Or not being a joke, just being an insult.
Yeah, but Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's a good idea. It's got its charm.
It's not feasible. It's obviously obviously.
Well, no,
this is
it'll also just lead to 90% of the comedy community getting their genitals punched in.
But that's what it feels like anyway, buddy. So.
But it would heighten audience attendance at open mic and lower the amount of people who'd come back. That'd be great. Except it really would make pervs double down, and that's always annoying.
That's true.
Yeah, here we go. You know, the guy who will deliberately try to tank the fucking Gong Show. You know, you get about an army of them. Like, then they touch my penis and it hurts. Yes, this is what I wanted.
Kick me.
As Mother said it should be. I am ashamed. So yes,
it's Bill Murray and Little Shop of Horrors is what it is. That's what it is.
Now, Bill Murray.
Bill Murray in Little Shop of Horrors. You know, where he wants to be worked on by Steve Martin.
Oh, is that Bill Murray?
Yeah. He's in the dentist chair.
Bill Murray in a role originated by Jack Nicholson's hairline.
I didn't know that was a thing until I met my wife.
You know, from the eyebrows up, Bill Murray and Jack Nicholson are the same man.
God. There's a lot in common.
Well, yeah, I mean, they both figured out, some time ago, the way to go and be in a film is you take your own mannerisms, but now you're whoever that person is. So you just do your behaviors, but at the level that person would be doing them at.
Yes.
Great. Jack Nicholson is the Joker. The Joker is Jack Nicholson. And that's not, here's a great deep performance. It's, well, if I was a clown, I guess I'd speak like this. Like, fantastic, you know?
Just really smile good. A bit more.
Yeah. And the prosthetics can do that for him.
Yeah, it doesn't need to get the lines. On his face, doesn't need to look at the creases. So I've invited you on here. We've been talking for a while now. We've been talking about comedy, and that's great. That's fine. But mental health,
comedy is fine. I'm glad we chose to pursue it for a living.
I'm glad. Very different directions.
Adequate.
I feel, but yet managed to get to the same platform, very different ways. Entirely. Yes. I love that. I absolutely love having the fact that everyone that's there is like everyone that's done this has done it differently. Like every single successful stream comic is a different. You just don't have the same type. There's not two, because if there was, someone would go to the better one. That's just how Twitch works. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But
now I see you've just presumed that anything on the internet's a meritocracy, and good on you. What a wonderful idea. Look, if we're going to run the metrics on this, how are you, fellow minnow? It's a joy to see you. Gosh, I hope we can try to swim upriver for spawning season. You know?
Looking forward to it.
Fucking hell.
No,
we are as nothing, pal.
I know we're as nothing. I'm talking about it in a positive way. There's lots of different. I like the variety.
It's good to be nothing. It's very zen of you. How marvelous. Finally, Buddhism and nihilism together at last.
I like being nothing. I think that there's no responsibility then. There's nothing.
Please make absolutely certain as you shout that you like being nothing. Please, if you feel in any way a tremor in your genes, this conversation is over. I'm not free-doming you.
Oh, no. This is not.
We're not having this. But I love being nothing, Daddy. All right.
No, it's not. It's the responsibility of entropy. Like that, I know that the universe will explode one day. I'm just glad that I'm here for a bit and that I can make some people laugh about whatever's going on in the Middle East. That's just one.
Wait, hang on, Chris. Is that your fresh hot angle for comedy?
No, I just have. I have a little joke.
Gang, I know Brexit's no fun, but get a load of what's happening in Palestine. Eh?
The Gaza Strip, am I right?
What's all that about?
It might be at the
out of interest. How does this go down in there? How does this go down in the region? Have you gone in? Have you tried to?
Have I taken it to the Middle East? Have I taken the joke down to that? Do you want to hear the joke first, so that
I'd be very excited.
Okay, it's really easy. It's just a simple one-liner. It's just pointing at people wearing a t-shirt and saying, "Sun's out, guns out. Sun's out, guns out. Sun's out, guns out." Am I right? Repeating it, and that's why there's so much conflict in the Middle East. It's a very simple joke. It's a very simple joke. I wasn't going to tell it. I was making an offhand comment.
No, that's great. That's really good.
But I will happily take the piss out of any subject as long as it's done right. Like we were saying about jokes a second ago, I think that no one loses there. There's no, I'm not taking the piss out of one side or the other. I'm not. Yeah.
Look, it's a technical exercise.
Yes.
Faintly amusing noise, faintly amusing noise, faintly amusing noise. Dark place. That's
Dark
fine.
place.
That's a great trope. That's a real. It's good. It's mechanical. It's nice. It's, you know what? It's one of those few jokes about the conflicts in the Middle East that I think everyone there can enjoy.
We can all get on board with, no matter the age or gender.
It doesn't matter who owns that land. I think everyone can agree. Lots of people being shot.
Lots of people. I feel like I'm worse than Logan Paul now.
No, I don't think so. I mean, worse at monetizing. Absolutely.
Terrible.
This should have been a TikTok dance.
This is as I tell it. Just
Suns out, guns out. No, seriously, just do it. Suns out, guns out, suns out, guns out. And that's why there's conflict in the Middle East. Look, it's great. Tell you what.
This was not supposed to turn into a workshop, by the way. This was
it's not a workshop. I'm not. Look, you know why it's not a workshop? Because I'm not going to ever attempt to improve your joke.
Good.
Because I can't. It works. It's great. It's a great fucking gag. I'm just going to make the point that if you had died, like if you were dead and it was 30 years from now, there would be some UK comedy historian who would be talking about you like they talk about Malcolm Hardy, and that joke would be passed around. It would be great.
It would. Do you know? I thought you were gonna. I thought you were gonna go in a different direction. Then I thought you were gonna say if you died, there would be some UK teenage kids doing TikTok dances to that joke using my original words.
Well, look, you're not on TikTok. You don't exist to them yet. You've got to get, once you're there and on the platform, then you'll have a second life there. But not on Second Life. That's some old school virtual reality shit these days.
That's so old school that I saw an NCIS episode about it. That's how old school Second Life.
Jesus Christ, that is old school.
That two people are hacking Second Life on one keyboard. I've never seen such nonsense, mate. One on each half, as if you don't need all of them.
That'll be Abby and Proby next to each other.
I don't know. Is that who it was? I only saw it.
If it was the nerd and the goth, yes.
They chased him through Second Life as if you needed to chase someone through cyberspace. It was like, oh, quickly follow him, and I was like, that's not how computers work. Even the lawnmower man was better than this.
Well,
Jesus.
like, sorry, it's that moment going. Wait, hang on. You can't ring the developer. You're the cops, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, what are you doing? Just phone them. Phone them.
Yeah. Yeah. Where is this person? Cheers. G'day.
Yeah. Hi, mate. I
mean, Christ, we're on the internet. This is the place where American teenagers call SWAT teams down on each other, for fuck's sake.
They have a thing. Swatting is a thing. I can't believe that.
Swatting's a thing. Swatting's a goddamn thing. And yet NCIS like, no, run. Shit, what's your run speed at? What's your run stat? We're not fast enough. Level up. Level up.
Quickly. I love the idea because they were like, oh, he's spoofing his IP address. I'm like, not if he's playing Second Life, he isn't.
Yeah,
no, he isn't. But yeah, anyway, sorry. So yes, again.
No, it's good. It's good.
The master of distraction. Mental health, John.
Yes,
mental health.
Yep.
So mental health. I've suffered mental health problems. That's why I started this show. Is there anything that in your career that you would say comes from, a better way of wording it is, you have had mental health problems in the past and you've been very open about it. Would you say that you cope with them and they're part of you, or would you say that they have been like a problem in your career, a hurdle to get over?
Yeah. Well, I've never felt like I couldn't do something because of where my mental health was. I've had times when I've thought this is agony and then done it, but I've always, there are things that I haven't questioned that I've done while unwell, and then found out that I was very productive later. Like when someone said to me, oh, hey, you're meant to be doing this gaming festival, but the gaming festival is cancelled due to Corona. Maybe you could do a show on that weekend. And I went, oh, well, obviously we'll do a 48-hour version of my 1 hour long interactive stand-up show. And we're going to raise a lot of money for charity. And that was that's exactly what we did. And it worked really well. But now that I'm not in that mania and we're gearing up for a 50-hour version, I'm here sort of like, oh, Christ, how did we do this? This is going to be painful. Like, not for the crowd. Crowd will have a great time, but this is going to fuck me up. And, and it's something you worry about. Whereas with that, it was just this, fucking mania. And, I tend to, yeah, I like the positive side of it is I will lean into things and just do them.
Yes.
But you only realize that your feet weren't touching the ground when you don't remember really doing any of those things, and you're a little confused as to how they happened. That's fun, and I've never been on enough external chemicals to turn around and jovially go, ah, well, that was my wild years. It's like, no, they've all been like that. It doesn't end.
Yeah, that's the productive cycle. That's all that is. That is the idea.
That's the productive cycle, and the destructive cycle is definitely present and unreasonable and deeply, deeply unfun. And like learning how to do things again after trauma is a real pain in the ass. Yeah. You know, like genuinely sending texts and just being like, no, that read like you're normal. You'll be accepted by those people. That's fine. You know. Yeah. A ridiculous, unnecessary, almost childlike psychodrama for essentially sending a text to someone who's a new friend of yours, you know, that you don't know very well. And all you're trying to do is go, hey, shall we go hang out at the bar? And you know, and yet your brain's still like, fuck, is that, oh, Jesus, you know, ridiculous.
Yeah. Do you get it where you're, so for that, like in that particular subject, do you get that thing where you are worried that you're being too enthusiastic with someone? Like when with a new friend, you're like, hey, I've got to talk to you, and then there's a point at which you're like, I have to stop because this is too much. Do you get that?
Yeah, I do. This is a thing that it took a long time to learn, and it becomes it's one of those things where I learned really years ago, and then over the course of the pandemic, when you don't see people and you just sort of like, I don't know. I think you get sort of pushed back a bit emotionally, and it becomes like, actually, hang on. Probably the best way of phrasing it would be, if you ever think to yourself, oh, in any context, this is my only chance at, and that can be like, oh, it's my night off. I need to see people, otherwise I'll be depressed. Right?
Yeah.
That means more to you than what you're actually doing, which is going, oh shit, who's out? Who's out? Who wants to go out? Who wants to go to the pub? Right? Yeah. And so I get that. And that filters into things. If I decide something is like my one shot at something, or it's like super important, but that's irrational. And it's not something that, it's annoying. It's annoying when that to realize that was coming back. I got rid of that in pretty much everything I do. Like it became, I mean, like if you're going to learn how to cope with rejection in the comedy world, what you do is you go, well, you just take however many shots you want, and it doesn't matter if that one fails, the next one or whatever, something will work. You just have to keep going.
Yeah.
And it's strange to be unexpectedly like hit by pangs of desperation. And that's I mean, that's a combination of like isolation and loneliness and just going stir crazy.
Is that something you've had during the pandemic then? Is that something
during the pandemic, but also because I never really questioned anything until I had a breakdown. I, for instance, didn't realize, I knew jovially, like I would go out and do, do stand up, whatever, right? Go tour. And then I would go home, and that's all I did, and that's all I did. Like people would say to me in London, like, do you live here? We never see you. It's like, no, I go out, I work, I have a great time. I come home, I party hard at home. Right. But eventually, like, I was joking to myself at the start of the pandemic. It was like, well, this isn't anything different. You never used to leave the house.
Yeah.
The only thing that's different is you're not getting on the megabus to go to Plymouth. This is great. This is great. But then at the same time, But then at the same time, right? Me, what is it? 3 years ago, somebody came around the house, gas man to fix the meter. And I popped out the door in the most paranoid state you can imagine. Like, who? What the fuck is what?
Yeah.
Like a fucking spider getting something on the web. Like, what the fuck is that? Right. And and realizing that's more of a thing. That's Like we had a thing with they came around to do something to the electrics months ago, and they knocked on my door. And like, if you knock on my door and I don't expect you there, I don't like it. I don't know why I don't like it, but I do not. No part of me goes, that's good news, right?
No.
Not since I've come to London has anyone unexpectedly knocked on my door and it been a friend. It's, mail, you know what I mean? Mail, very good. But if it's, like there's like a team of fucking knife salesmen. They're legitimate knife salesmen. They come by every 2 years and it's charming as fuck. But also, if you're not feeling great, it's that money. I don't have time for your fucking whimsy. Your
whimsy.
Yes, those guys are whimsical as fuck. It's a family. It's a family of knife salesmen. It's astonishing.
I've never heard of it. I've never heard of it.
Oh, it's amazing. Like this van pulls up, right? And these guys, they're just fucking magnificent. If you get the dad, that's really good. But like the first time I met them, I followed one of them because they sell knives and pillows, right? And so you just got a guy with like a sheaf of steak knives and a pillow chasing a woman down the street, right? Like, do you want some of these? Do you want some of these, love? Right. And I chased him because I was sort of like, no, come on, leave her alone. Let her get into her house.
Jesus.
Well, because it's pretty fucking threatening. It's like, I can smother you and I'll kill you. No one will hear your screams. Yay. 20 quid. 20 quid.
20 quid. 20 quid.
London. Yeah. The last time I saw them, like I opened the door and, and just sort of like you're face to face with the dad. And the dad's the best one because he knows that they're annoying. And so he's like, he greeted me with, I'm sorry to pain you, brother. Do you want some knives? Like, I have knives. I'll be going then.
I mean, you dressed as just as you saying I have knives is potentially terrifying.
I was just trying to tell him I have knives. Like, but it's just I have knives. I don't want you here. I'm paranoid. Look, thing is, I am paranoid about strangers coming to the house.
Same. Yeah.
Right. That happened. It started happening 3 years ago. I don't know particularly why that is. My house is very important to me. I do not. Yeah. I will reach stages where I can't. Well, can't is a strong word. Kant is a philosopher and cunt is delicious. It's all right. It's this. I have in the past worked myself up without realizing to the point that I can no longer handle any new information of any stripe. And that can be from, I can't have someone walk into the room who I didn't expect to be in the room at that exact moment.
Wow. Okay.
And that can be someone who I see every day. That can be like, no, right. And then yet the thing is, this is all just in my personal life, right? A lot of this is driven by the desire to and ability to go to work, show up, do the thing, leave. I don't cause trouble. I do cover venues with beans and bits of chicken occasionally. I'll stick around to clean up if you want me to, all this. I sell t-shirts. I love speaking to people. I love doing my shows. I love going and being a goddamn professional, but that'll be the most sane and in control I'll be. And then you're in the house just sort of like, fuck the mail. Fuck, just. Yeah. And that's not great. And that speaks to someone who isolates themselves accidentally, doesn't realize they're doing it, and then gets too much into their own head and doesn't realize they're doing that either.
No.
And
have you got a coping mechanism surrounding that? Have you got a way? Are you saying that this is still happening now? So have you got any way that work around it?
Well, going batshit was a really good alarm call. It was a shame that the alarm was also on fire and transparently trying to explode. And the alarm included the phrase, fuck off so I can kill myself. Just repeated
over and over
again in a pretty tragic and unpleasant way. The coping mechanism is mostly just recognizing it. And and that thing where I just didn't have a name for anything. Like what I had a series of half remembered traumas and a series of and that's no casual use of the word, just a series of like well, that happened, and I haven't really ever analyzed the effect of that on me in any way. That sort of thing of, well, then we just kept going,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Best friend's face blown off by a landmine. Well, you won't be stepping there again, will you, dickhead? Oh,
God, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome movie. What are feelings? Yeah, having a name to it, and having the wake up call of not accepting breaking down again is good.
Yeah.
And knowing what that can do and how unpleasant that is. I've never, up until maybe a couple of years ago, my body never successfully retained the memory of pain.
Right.
About anything. Didn't matter what it was. It would be like, no, but I'm happy. And if I feel happy, then everything in the world is right. Everything must be right. I'm happy. Everyone's happy. You're sad. Now I can go and deal with that, and I can become as sad as you are, right? And then when that's done, that's fine.
Yeah.
But then I wouldn't remember what it felt like for me to be sad, and then I could be overwhelmed by any emotion like that, like whoa, completely fucking paralyzed. Yeah, I mean, it takes a lot. It really takes a lot for this to happen. But it goes to show you, right? To be that tightly wound meant a huge amount of stuff was going on, and then just right, and then it comes out as, oh dear, oh no, the mail is here, and that's apparently too much. You're not the usual takeaway bloke. Fuck you. Of course, the food is poison.
Yeah. But now that's not how it is now. You're
no.
Through it.
I still don't. I mean, I don't like people coming around the house, but
no one likes people coming around the house. John. No one likes it.
No, true. But it's not like it's not an excessive fear.
No.
And yeah, I get days now where, as I said, you can have a name for it, but also just recognizing something. And I don't mean like, well, here's this thing and that's the label for it. More like going, oh, that's been there a while. I didn't know that's what that was. That's something. Because you can be aware of, like, say when I say like half remembered traumas, you can go, gee, that was bad. Well, we lived through it. Let's never consciously talk about it, but we lived through it, so I understand that. Then you end up in something that's a bit like it. And that means that you're no longer in that moment, the actual present. You're talking to a memory, which is a very common thing that people do. And doesn't help anybody. Like I've had conversations with people where I'm like, it's that moment again. I'm really sorry. Whatever I've done that's reminded you of your father, right? Or whoever this is, whoever this idea of a guy is, right? That's literally not what I was saying.
Yes.
You're having a conversation with someone who I know is from a different part of the world to me, with a totally different cultural outlook, but that's, it's just it's what we do to each other as people. I mean, I've definitely done that.
I've done it.
You have a conversation with somebody, and like, I'll form friendships with people because I'm like, this person's exactly like this other person. Great. That means I never have to know them properly. Not really. They're like my other friend. I'll treat them like my other friend. Oh, it's like having a backup. This is great.
It's like having a backup is a great way of putting
it. Yeah. Whatever, new Tim. Good on you, new Tim. How's your wife? I'm not married. Shut up. Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are.
Tim.
Make a joke that reminds me of actual Tim. Come on.
God, I miss Tim.
Yeah, God, I miss real Tim. Shut the fuck up, new Tim. Wear the scarf.
Tim.
I got you. Tim would wear a scarf like that. Real Tim. Yeah.
Real Tim.
Don't you want to be real Tim, new Tim? More Tim.
You are secondary Tim, and thus less Tim than original Tim.
Look, I lost a lot of, to be fair, the first time I used the phrase new name with somebody, I lost a lot of work at a comedy club when the guy running the bar, he was called, what was his name? Steve, right. And he was replaced by a guy called Craig. And I called Craig New Steve, right? And I didn't realize that, one, Craig has a very, very strong sense of identity. And two, was the booker. I didn't realize that. my work magically went away.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was quick. That was quick.
Well, it went away with original Steve. It
Original
evaporated
Steve.
as fast as he had.
So you were right. New Steve wasn't as good as old Steve. You were right.
Terrible.
You were right in that.
Terrible. I mean, I can't speak to Craig. I'm not familiar with Craig, but new Steve, as I knew him.
New
What an
Steve.
asshole.
Bastard.
Well, how dare you? How dare you not take the identity I'm forcing upon you? Shut the fuck up. It's not, and because I mean, look, if anyone's going, oh, come on, John, it's just a fun nickname. I mean, it's clearly a small mistake. It's like, oh no, when I said it to him, I was so full of myself. I was literally announcing, this is where you are in my mind. You are new face on that position behind the bar there. Don't worry about it. I'm being friendly, but also it's quite dismissive, and I shouldn't have done it.
No.
You know. But
you recognize it in hindsight. That's that, and like you say about
everyone recognizes things in hindsight, and when they don't, they end up feeble and old and confused.
Yeah.
It's like this is a very good segue. It's like the grandparents I don't talk to, who sit around baffled. You know, why are we disliked? Well, it's because you were violently abusive with your children and weirdly intrusive with your grandchildren without becoming violent. Nevertheless, let's just leave that as vague as needs be. We don't really talk to them. I haven't spoken to those people in 25 years. And they have no idea where I am or what I do, but just going to put something out there as a giveaway. If you are physically and sexually abusive of your children and your two sons both kill themselves and you don't do some pretty strong fucking soul searching, oh God, what a living death you are. You know? Yeah.
Don't be surprised that someone cuts you off for that.
Yeah, don't be baffled. Don't be baffled by that in any way. You know, like, don't be baffled by the idea I've got Google alerts on your names with the word obituary next to them. You know, and I'm waiting.
And then the story comes out. That's when the story's coming.
Well, we'll see. I highly doubt it. It's just more. I've had to learn recently, consciously, of things, right? And about myself and about my own state, because I was always boosted in my family as being the one who wasn't mentally ill. I was eccentric, and when I was a boy, I was emotionally excessive. But, you know, I'm a 35-year-old man. I'm not in any way as sensitive as I was when I was a pubescent. You know what I mean? I just have a silly job. I bloody provide, for my family. I do all sorts of shit. We do charity work, like I just happen to work in a particular business that, looks and sounds foolish and strange, and it should. But, I'm a fairly together person. But the breakdown took all of that away from me. The sense of being a together person in any way or recognizing that idea, that was all gone. And with my father's death, that ossified for me for too long, the idea that I knew absolutely everything about mental health. I didn't know shit about mental health. I knew some medications he was on, and that was it. And I was just like, I with my little friends, like some of them were saying, I think I'm bipolar. And I'm like, do you mean a manic depressive? Right. Which of course is the terminology from 20 years before.
Yeah.
Ludicrous. Absolutely ludicrous. And it took, it just meant that I went, well, there are sick people and then there's me. And that fell into everything. I didn't realize I was ill ever. Like it seemed totally reasonable to me that I was going to try to kill myself. It seemed totally reasonable to me to feel suicidal, over and over. It's only now that I can look back and go, well, actually, hang on, there's a very large number of times I felt suicidal without even realizing that's what it was, Yeah, that's a thing.
I think that's a big thing as well. What you're saying there is a big thing, because it's very hard to recognize, especially, as you say, if you've been brought up around mental health, but also with the media. I didn't realize it wasn't normal to wake up every morning thinking about killing yourself. I thought that was pretty what everyone did, you know. You just from from everything that was coming in, no one likes being alive. That's the thing. And then, as you said, you identify it, and it's easier to go, and you realize that you can feel a different way. And it's honestly, there isn't enough awareness around this. You don't have to feel like that, and that isn't standard. That's not what everyone feels. That's
we'll do that. However we feel, people normalize that, and they can normalize that like everyone feels that way, which I've seen firsthand is a way that people end up dead doing that.
Yeah.
Suicidal people going, people have it much worse than me. People have it much worse than me. It's like, sure, whatever. No, it's not a scale of pain and suffering.
No.
You know, when people say you have to look after yourself, they're not just being nice. They're actually saying you need to maintain yourself.
Yeah.
You know, the whole put the life jacket on yourself before assisting others is accurate.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't, I mean, that can sound incredibly selfish, and in practice can be incredibly selfish. But that's a different conversation. You can do that in a way that's good for you and doesn't necessarily harm other people. Because I've seen that as well. It's like, this is what's good for me. It's like, oh, cool. Was it specifically kicking that person in the teeth? Is that the prescribed therapy there? It doesn't matter. You're bleeding. The point is, I'm happy. You know,
I think when people use that, it's like they use mental health for being a dick. When they're like, oh, I'm not a dick. I'm mentally ill, and you're like, no, you can be both. I know, because I have been both. So you can be both.
Oh, same here.
Yeah.
Oh, look, absolutely
absolutely
the same here. And the
on this interview, I've been that both at the same time. I'm joking, buddy. I'm joking. You made that face at me, and you made that face, and I was just making a joke. I realized
good.
We were a serious topic.
Now, look, the shame that I feel the shame you already feel if you ever feel like you've upset someone you didn't mean to, right, is an awful feeling. And the shame of looking back and going, well, on these occasions when I was manic, it was impossible for me to consider how other people felt. That's an awful feeling. Like I mean, my wife and I have spoken about this, and it's a thing, it's a thing we've both lived through. But like with her, because she's seen this happen with me a bunch of times, and has always been very supportive. But it's like receiving, I remember everything usually. And that's, as long as I'm interacting with people that I care about, I remember everything. And then it's that thing where you have a conversation and they go, oh no, you were gone for a while. You're like, what? And then they tell you these things, and it's, you remember some of it, you don't remember the rest, and it's excruciating. And this is not, in case anyone's wondering what I'm talking about here, this isn't my wife saying, oh God, and then at that point you stabbed the children. We used to have children. They're dead now. Don't you remember, John? Don't you remember? No, it's just her sort of going, no, you were not well. And it was her way of helping explain to me, you are sick, and you have been for a while. So that's something. And
it's good that she identified it. That's why I think that's one of the big benefits to keeping people around that recognize you and see you.
I mean, recognize is an interesting word. I mean, I recognize myself occasionally. Like I recognize myself when I'm proud of my work, and when other people are happy in a desire that I've, and then off the back of that, I can bask in that reflection and go, well, if they're this, then I must be this. It's a nice thing to do. But also, I must have some degree of self-image, because I've committed to an image. I throw myself at it constantly. I'm always me. I'm never not myself unless I've gone mad.
And that's it. But then I think that then you're when you break that first time, it's always the worst thing that's ever happened. I've been there as well. And then afterwards, it can happen again but it's never as big as that first time. Because
I hope not.
You hope not. But I think that you do. But you do break again because because you've already it already happens, and then but you recognize you can put yourself back together a bit quicker.
Yeah.
And it does happen. Well, I don't know if that's your experience.
No, I'm agreeing with you. I agree with you entirely, and it's something that I deeply hoped. I mean, everything you're saying is what I deeply hoped during my breakdown. Yeah. I just didn't want to hear it from other people at the time. Like, no, but you know, like there was a mate of mine who went, so this is your rock bottom, and he was trying to go, no, it's good, and I was like, how fucking dare you, right? Because everything's going on, and it was that thing of going, how dare you tell me it can't get worse? What the fuck do you know, right? Because the other thing, I was trying to tell someone this once, is just it is possible to become addicted to grief. Because there's a huge amount of endorphins there. And well, no, sorry, adrenaline. Adrenaline is the word. Yeah. I have never been so productive as when overwhelmed by a feeling I would recognize as grief, right? Yeah. And you get shit done. Your body metabolizes everything. It is impossible to put on weight. I've lost fucking muscle mass whilst grieving, which all I have on my body is the fact that my arms will, upon one push-up, balloon. You know, it's very useful. It's very nice. It's a low cut. Yeah, well, there's no definition to them, but a little bit of size on a small bloke. Like it's sort of like, oh wow, good on you.
Yeah, well done.
A lot of little fucking Hercules, little He-Man. You know,
it just pushes mine out.
Pardon?
It just pushes mine out.
Yeah.
Bigger boobs.
Yeah, well, that's it. Look at that man's arm titties. Amazing.
Yeah, that's it. That's all it does. Yeah. You pull a muscle.
I get a pimple on them, and it just looks like I've got a very sensitive, A cup. It's really nice.
But yeah, sorry, you were saying.
Yeah, I've no idea. Some bullshit.
No, but you're right about grief. Grief is addictive. It does speed up your body because it's fight or flight. It puts you in that.
Well, yeah, that's it. So it was a thing where when he said, so this is your rock bottom, the part of me that was going, fuck you, wasn't just going, fuck you from emotional pain. It was going, how dare you try to cut off this excellent supply of just, of being deeply fucking high and deeply crazy. Yeah. Which is also something I didn't know. I didn't realize, because I don't necessarily have an addictive personality, except for the things that I happen to have, over the course of years become dependent on.
Yeah.
That's a discovery. You find that out. When someone says to you, like, are you still taking that codeine after you've had after surgery? You were meant to stop taking that a week ago, and you just glare at them like, fuck you. It's that moment of like, whoopsies. When I got prescribed Valium one time, and I just walked around the house going, where the fuck's my Valium? That might be a sign that, yeah, exactly. Maybe we don't need these things.
Yeah.
And that becomes, I can get like that. So it's not that I go, it's not that I'm like, oh shit, you can't be in the same house as it, can't be in the presence of it, right? Or anything like that. But it is something that I do know that if I get ill and I go to the pharmacist and like, can I have the good stuff? And they give you the good stuff, right? I have learned, oh, you feel better now. So that means we stop taking it, which is exactly what they told you.
Yeah.
Naughty.
Follow the directions.
Follow the directions.
Follow the doctor. Follow the doctor.
That's right. A little bit of morphine as a treat. Fuck off.
Keep it in the cupboard for Christmas. Keep it in the cupboard for Christmas.
Well, keep it in the... Look, you might break your leg again. Just do,
it's hard to get.
Yeah.
Keep it in the cupboard for next time.
Well, yeah, okay, you don't throw it out, for fuck's sake. You might have another problem in the future.
You might have another problem. You need to pay rent sometimes.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not suggesting. Sorry, I'm not suggesting you become a drug dealer.
Yes, you are. Nah, that's it. Gone. Everyone around to Chris's house.
No, not again.
Yeah. Well, look, I know that I've done that thing in the house where you go, oh, got a headache. Oh, that's a shame, isn't it? That's a pity. I wonder if there's any. Oh, hey. Oh. Don't have much of anything anymore.
No, I don't feel anything other than stars and dreams.
Yeah, and yet at the same time, right? As much as I had the occasional, very very few dalliances with opiates, illegal drugs cannot do. Don't recommend it for anybody. Like ever once. God, took acid twice. What a phenomenal waste of everyone's fucking time. Like if you've seen a Terry Gilliam film, or you've seen and it doesn't have to be Fear and Loathing, just any of them. Yeah. And even then, I'm talking about the camera framing more than the content. And if you've seen any like Jimi Hendrix album cover, you've seen everything acid can give you, other than a sense that maybe God is watching you. And is that something you want? At all?
No.
Yeah. I had no religious revelations. I just ended up going, well, that was fun. And then spending the next 3 months going, I think my brain's damaged. This isn't good.
It's not worth it. I
keep thinking there are things hidden under other things. This is bad.
Hidden under other things. Was that actual...
Well, it's like sorry to cut you off. I wrote a bit which was just, it never worked. Of course it didn't, because there's nothing worse than watching someone on acid fervently try to express themselves, because they don't have access to the language centers. That's why hippies just repeat themselves in poetry. Right. You know, it's just like, if I just repeat this idea, just this one word over and over again, like a mantra, it'll become strong. It's like, no, it does nothing. It does nothing at all. It didn't mean anything the first time, means nothing now, because you're not saying the powerful word in the sentence. You know, you're just shouting and people are going, what?
And what?
What? Yeah. It's like, so yeah, acid's a little waste of it. Oh yeah, that was the bit that I wrote was it was just, I'm walking down the street, but Kate Blanchett's everything. Like,
right.
I sat on a bench and it's Kate Blanchett, and then Kate Blanchett sat down next to me and she took off her head, but it was Kate Blanchett, right? I just
right.
None of this. Okay, none of this is what I saw when I was on acid. What I saw on acid was my lounge room, but it was a little harder to walk around. You know, that was it. It was a waste of time. But then you're left with this, things under things, which that was, I figured out Philip K. Dick had started taking acid by reading one of his novels and going,
yeah.
So you're saying that all of reality has just been transplanted and put on top of 78 AD Rome. Yes, I think I've spoken to that same bloke with long hair.
Yes. We're buying from the same place.
Yes, indeed. I think he mixes it himself. Yeah. I always knew I was right not to want to lick stamps. What a waste of time.
It's just a waste of money. Right, I'm gonna because I did promise that it would be a shorter one, and it has not been. No. Let us know. It's not your fault. It's beautiful. It's great to have you on. We'll wrap up after that. We'll wrap up with something, John. Through everything that you've gone through everything that you've experienced and still do experience, I love that this is the end of this, and you like a bearded dragon with your third eye. Let's have some hope at the end. What advice would you give to someone going through terrible stuff? What would be the thing you'd say to them?
Okay, well, look, the first thing that you're going to need to do is you're going to need to seek help, as obviously something horrible has happened. The seeking of the help, you're already vulnerable. It's not going to make you any more vulnerable to go and get help. If the people around you aren't supportive, which is not a thing I've ever suffered from, but if the people around you aren't supportive, well, don't go to them. You need to go to a professional. That's really what you need to do. If the system's fucking you around, which is horrible, unfortunately, you have to keep going through the system to get the thing. Do not stop pushing. You are in extreme agony. The world has now stopped for you, right? So that you are able to deal with that. Do not take no for an answer in any way. Push until you get it's not necessarily the treatment necessarily that you want, but somebody who can talk to you, can help calm you fucking down, and then makes a sustainable system of treatment. Right? If your GP genuinely turns to you and goes, well, shit, have a whack full of antidepressants, and you don't feel comfortable with that, get a second opinion, right? This is the most valuable thing that you can do. And yeah, it's that thing where if you're suicidal, you might think, oh, well, It's rational that I die. You know, and that's because, I mean, people have all of these examples of, oh, people would be better off without me or whatever, right? That didn't enter my fucking head. You know, I wasn't doing it to benefit other people. I just wanted to die, and it made sense. And every time I feel like that, I just go, oh, well, I'm just sitting there going, well, it would be reasonable now to just slash my wrists. And it's just a flatness. It's just a, yes, right. That's, oh, I've made dinner and now I'll die. That sort of thing. You have to pick that and go, I'm ill. My brain is lying to me, right? Go seek, I found the part I found beneficial was just starting a sentence with "Hello, doctor." Being able to talk to a doctor was very fucking useful. And also try to get whatever the stress is. Try to that's helping cause this. Try to get not necessarily as far away from it as you can, but put whatever limits you require, and however you require, and see what happens. Yeah, look after yourself, but you don't shoot anyone. That's the thing.
Yeah, be nice, but don't. But look after yourself.
Yeah. Whatever's good. So just set a. Yeah.
It's okay to take time for yourself.
That's it. Yes, and that can mean more than just. Then I sat down and played video games. Like, no, you didn't take time for yourself. You sat down and played video games.
Yeah. You
got a nice calming moment there. But this is more of an active go and get this. That can be a type of self-care. There's so many wonderful ways of just, and now I'm detaching from the outside world, and this is helping me be less stressed. But if you're in extreme crisis, for fuck's sake, you
need to do something else.
Yeah, or go to therapy. Just go to therapy in general. It's maintenance for you. Don't do something that isn't therapy and then go, this is my therapy. No, it isn't. It's self-care at best.
Therapy's therapy.
Yeah, that's it. I, for instance, like chopping wood. I don't know any more about myself while chopping wood in any way. In fact, when my brain moves and goes, if only this block of wood, if only this was my abusive grandfather's head. Ha ha ha. Cathartic. Not necessarily helpful.
That's a great thing. That's a great thing to end on. Right, go on. Tell people where they can find you, John. That's fine. Tell everyone where they can find you.
You can find me at twitch.tv/Robotron, ROBBOTRON. I'm on Twitter at the same thing. Again, ROBBOTRON. If you just Google Mr. John Robertson, MRJOHN Robertson, you will find me.
That was a lovely Radio 4 way to say that. I liked it. Thank you very much for joining me for this week's Mental Health Bar, John Robertson. We'll be back next week. Thank you very much for joining us here, and thank you again, John.
No worries. If I thought this through, I would have had a third eye related prop. Oh, I do. Fuck, that's lucky, isn't it? There we go.
Right. Thank you very much, John. See you next week, everyone.